Hey, I'm Adam. I just read Still Alice, and I wanted to give you a short summary, a review, and a couple research questions as well. So, enjoy. Set in 2003, Lisa Genova's Still Alice follows a cognitive psychology professor and expert in linguistics at Harvard University named Alice Howland. Alice discovers that she is having more frequent lapses in her memory, eventually getting so bad that she goes to the doctor, where her whole world will change. She is diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's disease, a rare incurable genetic disease which slowly rids a person of their memory and thinking abilities. Eventually, as time passes with the disease, a person may not even be able to perform simple tasks on their own. As Alice and her family struggle to deal with her slowly declining cognitive abilities, they also struggle with the fact that Alice may have passed her mutation on to her 3 kids. Not only must her family figure out how to deal with the inevitable loss of Alice and the chance that they might suffer the same fate, but Alice has to deal with the fact that one day she might not recognize her family, and maybe not even herself. I thoroughly loved this read. I thought the language used, while sophisticated, was easy to understand and follow, give or take a couple instances. Genova takes a clever approach to a story about Alzheimer's, putting the reader in the perspective of a patient slowly losing information on the story, such as character names or important events. However, it is still coherent, and the reader can follow the story through the context of what we already know, and the simple descriptions of situations that Alice provides. Another thing I liked is that chapters come in the form of months. This is an excellent way to show the slow decline of Alice's memory, just showing a couple standout events each month to let the reader know how bad the disease is getting. One thing I wish was more present in the book is more talk of what Alzheimer's actually is on a cellular level, because they touch on something called amyloid beta, but they don't dive much deeper than that. So what is amyloid beta? Amyloid beta, specifically amyloid beta 42, is a naturally occurring protein that may clump together in between neurons, which will disrupt brain cell function. As you can see here, this is a healthy neuron, and this is a neuron of someone who has Alzheimer's disease. Notice the amyloid plaque building up in the middle. But that was my biggest gripe with the book. Other than that, I thought the book was outstanding. The book does a great job of showing the discrimination that many Alzheimer's patients experience about their decision-making skills. For example, many times in the book, Alice's opinions on matters will be completely overlooked, no matter how logical they may seem, all because she has Alzheimer's and may repeat herself or forget she already made a point. However, there must be a point where a person with Alzheimer's cannot make decisions on their own, for the safety of themselves and the people around them. So I ask, at what point does it become too dangerous for an Alzheimer's patient to make decisions on their own? And how do we determine that? The Alzheimer's Association states that as long as someone living with Alzheimer's has legal capacity, the ability to understand and appreciate the consequences of his or her actions, he or she should take part in legal planning. Basically meaning, if a person has a full grasp of the consequences of their actions, they can make their own legal decisions, such as giving informed consent, managing their finances, being able to drive, making a will, living independently, etc. And as soon as someone loses legal capacity, they are no longer able to make their own decisions. Before someone loses legal capacity, they can make something called a power of attorney agreement. A power of attorney agreement is a letter that gives a person the right to make legal decisions on another person's behalf, if they're unavailable or incapable of making them themselves. So what happens if a person with Alzheimer's does not make a power of attorney agreement? If an Alzheimer's patient loses capacity to make decisions without making a power of attorney agreement, they may be appointed a guardian, also known as a conservator, to make decisions for them. Most of the time, guardianship is taken up by a close family member. This person will be responsible for making legal, financial, personal, and medical decisions with the best interest of the patient in mind. In the book, Alice has recommended physical exercise in the form of jogging to hopefully slow the effects that Alzheimer's has on her brain. Is there any evidence that this works in real life? And are there other things like this that may slow the effects of Alzheimer's, or even aid in preventing it altogether? Well, the Alzheimer's Society of Canada suggests that some alternative treatments, such as different kinds of therapies, brain healthy lifestyles, and natural health products, may have a positive impact on Alzheimer's patients. The therapies they list consist of aromatherapy, pet therapy, music therapy, and massage therapy. However, the Alzheimer's Association of the United Kingdom adds light therapy to that list. All these therapies are helpful in negating stress and aggression levels in patients. This is helpful because high amounts of stress can cause Alzheimer's disease to progress faster. These therapies also have some side benefits that may help with Alzheimer's. For instance, music therapy can help maintain speech and language abilities as the disease progresses, and light therapy can help prevent sleep disorders caused by Alzheimer's disease. Other alternative treatments include coconut oil, medical cannabis, and natural health products such as ginkgo biloba, melatonin, and omega-3s. However, these are only theorized to have a positive effect on Alzheimer's and do not have enough evidence to make a conclusive statement. For all we know, they may even have a negative effect, and using some of these treatments might be dangerous for people with Alzheimer's. On the other hand, the Alzheimer's Society of Canada says that the most effective form of alternative treatment is living a brain-healthy lifestyle. This means doing things like being physically and socially active, challenging the brain, making conscious and safe decisions, eating healthily, and managing stress levels, potentially with the therapies mentioned previously. While none of these options stop or reverse the effects of Alzheimer's disease, they do great at slowing the progression of the disease, which will make an Alzheimer's patient's life easier for longer. But there is good evidence that living a brain-healthy lifestyle greatly decreases the chances of developing the disease in the first place, by upwards of 60%. So was the book based in reality when saying that Alice should get some physical exercise to slow the progression of her symptoms? Yes. Yes, it was. In North America, Alzheimer's disease is a sad and scary thing that the large majority is aware about. And there are many resources out there to help, not only for the patient, but also for caregivers. But is that the same around the world? Well, in places like Europe and Australia, there is similar concern about the disease, with similar amounts of resources available as well. However, in other continents like Asia, Africa, and South America, the same knowledge and resources are not as readily available, even though Alzheimer's affects all races and genders the same. For instance, in many developing parts of Asia and Africa, the symptoms of Alzheimer's, like memory loss and disorientation, are just seen as a normal part of getting old, resulting in not a lot of common knowledge about the disease, and many people going undiagnosed. In fact, most Asian languages do not have a medical term for Alzheimer's. While in places like South America, the research and knowledge is there, but due to lots of political and socio-economical issues, the resources are not as widely available. On the bright side, there is an organization known as the Latin American and Caribbean Consortium on Dementia, which is trying to spread knowledge and establish resources in that part of the world. Thanks for watching my video all the way to the end. Here are my sources. Hope you learned something and enjoyed yourself. Have a good day.